Guys, I had this lofty goal for 2021 to create full-time income with flipping sports cards and with sports card related activity.
I live in the real world where men sell propane and propane accessories.
King of the Hill was a very underrated cartoon. Just saying. Anyway, with card prices cooling off and holding mostly football cards as inventory without getting any of my PSA submissions back yet, these last few months have given me the opportunity to really step back and reassess everything from my financial goals to what is driving me to do all of this to begin with. And of all the things I have come to get some clarity on, there is one big vision that keeps popping up in my head that I feel very convicted about, or have a lot of conviction about, because it would not only help the hobby, but also everyday people outside the hobby. And because of that, I feel very inspired to share it with you. So hopefully we can make it a reality together. So with that being said, welcome back. Now let's get to work. First of all, before I share with you the dream, there is a famous quote in sports that I love applying to everyday life, which goes, take what the defense gives you. And in basketball, that means that when one player is double teamed, you kick the ball out to the open shooter. In football, you run the ball when the defense plays deep and throw the ball over the defense's head when they stack the box. But this quote is also perfect for everyday life because we can't control anything besides our attitude and our actions. So if card prices are low and our portfolios have lost value, we can either just sit there and bitch about it, which does nothing, and yet that is what most people do, or we can take what the defense gives us and do what we can to be productive during this time. So before I go over my idea, here are a couple of things worth noting. And the first is that cards are an absolute blast for me, but I don't feel fulfilled just talking about sports and sports cards. And as many of you already know, I got back into sports cards in February of last year to reconnect to my inner child and to introduce a bit of fun into my life. But my career path and passion leading up to this was helping people here in LA optimize their finances, get out of debt so they could reduce stress and achieve their goals. And working with the right clients was super fulfilling, and yet at the same time I was feeling burnt out and unmotivated because as I was building this, I wasn't having any fun at all. It was all just very dry and serious. And then in April of last year, one of my business mentors who I was working with, shout out James Swanwick, challenged me to just focus on sports card investing and content creation for 30 days to see if I could find some fun and fulfillment in something that I just felt like I was a natural in. And since then, I've had a ton of fun researching cards and starting a business around this, as well as creating videos and interacting with y'all. But there is still something that has been missing for me, and that is giving in a way that empowers others in a very similar way to how I felt I was doing with my financial coaching clients. And if you guys have noticed, I try to incorporate some sort of mindset or success principle in most of my videos to hopefully make it a bit more impactful, just like the quote I used earlier in this video. But I still have this grand vision that I feel could be really beneficial for the hobby, for the less privileged, or for nonprofits, for brands and sponsors, and then also for myself as I'm looking to grow this channel and just see what opportunities present themselves both in and out of sports cards down the road. So here goes. All right, look, we all know that card breaks are probably the most entertaining content out there.
This is the moment of truth. Let's go. First card. Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh! Oh my God!
With the exception of the weekly off-centered live stream Dustin and I put on where I just haze him like an undersized freshman Sigma Chi pledge for an hour straight. You know what sign I'm gonna put on your back? I'm carrying a lot of cash. Please mug me.
You got to put the sign on my back, and my wife already has a sign on my back. I'm like, what the hell? What the hell's wrong with you guys?
I'm gonna walk around. There's gonna be like 9 signs on your back. You're gonna be like a Starbucks bulletin board. But besides that, card breaks are fun because it's like Christmas morning for either yourself or for a complete stranger. It's fun to see if someone will pull that rare one-of-one card that could be worth $5,000, or if they just wasted $50. But we all know that this is pure gambling without any real substance and without any empowerment or positive change actually occurring. And I really believe that the excitement and entertainment value of card breaks can actually be used to make some real positive change inside and out of the hobby. So over the past few weeks, this dream has been forming more and more, and I've been figuring out a way where everyone involved can benefit tremendously. And what I have now is kind of a business proposal that I'll start pitching to vendors, platforms, manufacturers, and other businesses to get involved. And it goes like this. So let's take a company like eBay or a card shop. They pay for a handful of boxes to be ripped, like $2,000 worth. They become the sponsor of the monthly break, and then each slot in the break will be offered at a normal retail price, but with all proceeds going to a nonprofit. Maybe even a kid-related charity, since this is a childhood hobby for many of us. Maybe it changes each month. Maybe the sponsor can choose the nonprofit, but regardless, it all goes to a good cause. The people entering the break can feel good knowing that they spent the same amount as they normally would and are still receiving cards, but their investment is going to a good cause. But for the sponsor, this is where I would want them to get such a great return on investment that they would want to do this again and again, because not only are they being seen in a good light, but they're also getting so much more business than what they invested in the card boxes. And the goal is to do this regularly, maybe even weekly or so, but not to the point where it's competing with actual card breakers that do this as a living. And guys, before you flood the comments with charity breaks already exist, yeah, I know. The difference is that I don't know any of them that are marketed well, that are done consistently, and are broadcast on YouTube so they can actually get 20,000 views, so a sponsor would feel good about the exposure they're getting and the return on investment that comes with it. I'd also love to grow this to the point where I'm doing breaks with other top content creators and even athletes that would be willing to do it because it's a good cause, and they could share it on their social media platforms, their Instagram, their YouTube, whatever else. And to be honest, one of my first visions of doing this was actually ripping wax with Rob Gronkowski. I just thought he'd be a perfect personality for opening cards.
Yeah, I got traded. I told that story before last year. Yeah, and then I was like, oh no, I'm retired. How can you trade me? And I stayed on the Patriots.
But anyway, the reason I wanted to share this with you is because I don't know exactly how this will unfold, but I do know that it keeps coming up for me and it keeps coming from this deep place, and I would much rather put it out in the world and see who it resonates with and who reaches out and what will happen. I mean, you know, several months ago when I used your feedback to make that video urging eBay to look at a couple issues that they could improve upon, I literally got an email from an eBay rep within hours of that release. So I'm definitely not going to discount our reach and impact as a community. You know, the other thing too is that I've been inspired a ton over the past few years by entrepreneurs and thought leaders like Lewis Howes and Ed Milet, and then just recently Charlie Rocket, that they've shown me how important it is to publicly declare your goals and your mission, and that it's totally possible to be both financially successful and also do good for the world instead of having to pick between the two, which is what I believed for most of my life. So if you'd like to see something like this happen, make sure to pound that like button. And if you know someone or some company that might be interested in being a part of this project, please share this video with them and let's see what we can do as a community.